Welcome to the BDO Wealth podcast series, Family Cues, guiding families through money moments. Life doesn't come with a manual, it comes with moments. Some bring joy, others bring challenge, but all of them shape our families, our futures, and our finances. At BDO Wealth, we recognize that financial planning is more than just the numbers. It's about making the most of everyday moments that have a financial impact on our lives. It's that delicate intersection of life and money. We call these life cues. They are life's turning points that prompt important financial choices. They might be career changes, family milestones, selling a business, or planning for retirement. And when these moments involve family, we call them family cues, money moments that touch the people closest to us. We use life cues as a prompt to help South Africans make the right financial decisions when it matters most. Financial planning is about navigating life's transitions and making sure your money supports what matters most. In this series, you'll hear from BDO Wealth financial planners and the families they've supported. Personal conversations that show how thoughtful guidance can help turn difficult crossroads into meaningful opportunities. Let's dive into today's Family Cue. Welcome, Desiree. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Ricardo.
Desiree, the story that we're reflecting on today, titled When Children Emigrate, What Are the Implications for Family Trust, is a story that explores how financial structures like trusts need to evolve as families change. Desiree, what are the family cues that you feel the story touches on most strongly?
Ricardo, this story really speaks to the family cue of legacy, adaptability, and immigration. It's about how families grow and change and how their financial structures need to keep up with the changes.
Desiree, can you tell us about the origins of this trust and what the family's vision was when it was first created?
Yes, the trust was originally set up to hold the shares in a business, and the vision was to support the family, that's the kids, the grandkids, and to support them with their education, their housing, and to leave a legacy for the family.
Okay. And Desiree, what changed over time that led the family to start questioning whether the trust still served this purpose?
As life unfolded, the dad passed away and the mum was aging, and the children were the trust's key beneficiaries, emigrated to build new lives abroad. We then had discussions about how distributions of the interest and the capital gains from the trust to the non-tax resident beneficiaries will attract taxes in South Africa under the trust's name, and how the distributions to non-tax residents may be subject to double taxation, once in SA and then again in the hands of the two adult children.
Right. So the immigration of the children was quite a key turning point for this family and particularly the trust. How did you help them reflect on the options, Desiree, that this presented at this point in time?
So we looked at what the trust was originally meant to do, the purpose that it had set out to do and why it was set up. And we then compared it to where the family was now. It was clear that the structure needed to evolve to stay relevant for the family.
Okay. And going forward then, give us an example of the scenarios that you modeled for the family to really, I guess, help guide them through this decision of how they dealt with the family trust.
We had a few options that we discussed. We explored a few options. It was keeping the trust as is and setting out what that meant from a financial point of view, restructuring it, and also winding it down gradually. But each scenario, each option would come with its own tax and compliance implications, especially with the two beneficiaries living abroad.
What was the scenario that was best suited to the family? What did they choose, Desiree?
Right up front, it was quite clear for the trustees. They all went with the phased wind-down approach.
How did you then approach this phased wind-down approach, particularly in terms of managing the tax and the compliance that goes with the administration of a trust?
So with the phased wind-down, we looked at options of doing it immediately to show the family what the implications would be. We did choose a phased wind-down approach, which would happen over 3 to 4 years, depending on the requirements. And we had a set plan for each year. So year 1 right up to year 4, what it would mean for each beneficiary from a distribution point of view, as well as for the trustees from taxes that they would be liable for, the trust would be liable for, as well as costs for the trust.
I think that's insightful because it's quite a common occurrence that families are separated and would live abroad and live in multiple jurisdictions. What were some of the considerations that you helped the family, I guess the beneficiaries particularly, navigate? What did they have to do?
Well, initially, we had to bring in tax specialists to give advice on their tax status here in South Africa and in their new tax jurisdiction. So we guided them together with the tax specialist to become non-SA tax resident and be compliant in their country of residence, new residence, as well as now externalizing the funds that they were receiving from the trust. So that would include repatriating the rands to their country of residence.
I would imagine that there was quite a bit of emotion attached to this decision to wind down their father's vision for the trust. What did it mean for the trustees and the beneficiaries at the time?
I think for the trustees, it was really a sense of relief because with the different options that were put out to them, they really felt that they were honoring the purpose of the trust, because with this phased down approach of closing the trust, the beneficiaries were still being seen to. The grandchildren were still going to benefit from the trust because there was a plan in place to attend to their education needs. The beneficiaries really understood the intention of education, housing, and the legacy. So for the trustees, it was a sense of relief. For the beneficiaries, it was the sense that so the trust is now no longer administering these funds. They then stepped up and they understood the responsibility of now administering the funds in their personal capacity.
How did you help them navigate that moment of clarity around now taking responsibility for managing the wealth in their own hands?
I think it was talking through the financial planning process. And a lot of it was, the intention of the trust and how we're going to continue serving that legacy that was set out. And so in their personal right, it became personal financial planning for them. Having the funds in their name, what it would mean to make sure that the funds were available for their children's education, medical costs, that was one of the requirements of the trust.
It's a lovely reflection on a true life story, Desiree. In your experience as a financial planner, what does this story and this life experience teach us about revisiting financial plans over time?
Ricardo, I think it's a great reminder that financial planning isn't a once-off exercise. It talks to family dynamics, the change, life changes, and how we need to have structures in place that can change, that can adapt when life changes. So the one thing that I did not set out earlier was that when we were looking at options, the first thing that we also had to look at was the trust deed, and to ensure that the plan or the options that we were putting out would be allowed by looking at the trust deed.
Right, and that does come from, like you said, revisiting structures, revisiting decisions that were made in years back. Desiree, just closing out, what advice would you give families that have long-standing trust or structures that may well need a fresh look?
Trusts are valuable structures and a great wealth planning tool, but it's important that they fit for purpose. Therefore, my advice would be to review your current trust structure. Does it still align with your family values and your reality? This is how you keep your legacy alive and relevant.
Thank you, Desiree, for joining us today.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Family Cues, guiding families through money moments. Every story we share is a reminder that financial planning isn't just about numbers. It's about people. It's about helping families make decisions that feel right, that last, and that honor what matters most. At BDO Wealth, we guide you to make the most of your wealth, not just for today, but for every chapter in your life. Because when you plan for life's cues properly, you create a future that will be remembered for the right reasons. If this resonated with you, explore more at www.bdowealth.co.za and be sure to join us for the next episode in our Family Cues podcast series. BDO Wealth, your financial guide.